Here we go. Here we go. Day 4. This is the end of the content that I had for you ladies in the very first ever pageant challenge. And I am so thankful for those of you that have hung in with me on this journey and those that are even jumping in today. I know that there's some fresh faces, which means there's some fresh hearts that I get to touch and some fresh minds that I get to mold around, hopefully a little bit today. And I'm thrilled that you are here with me. I'm going to start off with a confession. You ready? You guys know me, you know that I bear all. So the first day, well, one of the first days, it was like a zit on my chin. The second day, it was the silver in my hair that I caused by putting too much dry shampoo to try to cover my roots. But you know what? I had my hair did yesterday. So there's no more silver. There's no more roots. So that was cool. And today, just on the little things, I feel like I'm wearing way too much makeup. I don't know what it looks like from your end, but it was one of those days where, like, you know how you just feel over heavy, like almost drag queeny, and you're like, whoa, what happened there? Girls, sometimes I use like 3 to 4 pumps of my liquid stuff. I love the It Cosmetics. And I use like 3 to 4 pumps to get coverage. Today, 1 pump, and it was like, boom, it was like a glob of makeup has covered my face. And you can't take it off. You know, it's like putting too much salt in like what you're cooking, you know, you can't take the salt back and you can't take the makeup off. So however it looks to you, that is what is in my mind today. That I want to make sure that the real me is coming through to you, because that has been my promise from the very beginning. I don't want you to see a queen. I don't want you to see anyone who is any different in any way than you are. And so I'm a little self-conscious about the makeup situation. But as always, I'm starting off with Sash and Crown, because this is what you guys are going to use to visualize, right? We have talked so much this week about the power of visualization, and all of these concepts, they're not mine originally. You know, as I showed you guys a picture, I posted a picture right before we started of my nightstand, and you can see the entire span of it covered by nerdy books and then stacks in front, because I'm constantly reading other people's stuff and I'm stealing the best of it. I take what I like and I leave the rest. And hopefully I'm stacking on some wisdom, some growth, some change. But everything, because of that, everything that I say is stolen material. And all I do is like amalgamate it into a Hannah-shaped form that feels natural to me, and hopefully will give some inspiration to those that I touch. Just so you know that, I have to say that. Okay, so the visualization is like, picture, we've talked about before, the mega athletes, super successful athletes and business people. They visualize their successful feeling and their successful actual routine of whatever it is that they're about to perform. Gabby Douglas does this with her gymnastics routines before she goes out. She practices her routine, and this is for each category of competition. And this relates to you because of your categories of competition in pageants, right? Coming up, America Week, whoop, whoop. So you know what I'm trying to tell you that you can do. She visualizes each routine. She practices it, of course, on the beam or on the floor or on the, you know, whatever. And then she sits down and she plays it over and over and over 100 times. She feels in her body what it will feel like as she is performing the perfect routine that she's practiced physically so many times. And then she feels like what the end of it will feel like when she does her final ta-da moment, in that way that only gymnasts can do. I don't know, it's like this fun little pop, right? Don't they do like this pop thing? I don't know. I was obviously never a gymnast. So any of you gymnasts or even non-gymnasts, yeah, it's cool. You can laugh at me. And Michael Phelps, he has been renowned to do this while he is doing every stage of his swimming competition. You know, you'll see him with headphones on and his hoodie down over his head, and what he's actually going through is his routine. So when you are at Nationals Week, never feel bad. And I've had to learn this the hard way, with most of what I am sharing with you guys. It's not as much teaching as it is just exposing, right? I am just opening my heart, and I'm opening all of the mistakes that I've ever made that have ever potentially taught me something that could help you, that could heal a wound that you have that you might still be carrying into Nationals Week, that could calm a fear that you have that's nagging inside of you, that could conquer a self-doubt that just keeps replaying in your head. And I want to, you know, share my experience, strength, and hope to help to kick that thing in the butt. And, you know, we've talked about tactical ways to do that, which is find examples of people who've succeeded anyway, and do all the work your butt off to try to improve to the maximum level that you can in that area. And that's kind of the formula that we've talked about over the last couple of days to do that. But yeah, I want to give you guys the ability to, waiting room, sorry. Okay, cool, waiting room, I did it. One win for today. I always tell you about the micro wins. Find micro wins and pursue those. Stack up your micro wins, you know? So anyway, so here's how you can visualize, because I know that this is the dream. This is the goal. It might be America. It might be Miss for America Strong, that, you know, any of the 3 different divisions that are coming up in 4 weeks at America Week. But visualize this. And also the thing that I want to share is so interesting. It's fascinating to me that I thought, because I had always put title holders up on a pedestal and I like admired them from afar and went, oh, they have different things than I do. They must have found a magical key. They must be better in some, you know, whatever ways than me. They're different than me. And I thought then if I were ever honored with a national title, it would change me, that it would make me different all of a sudden, like put on the crown. Mine ends up always being crooked, which is like super perfect for me because I'm all about keeping it real and not having to be perfect. And then the sash, of course, goes on. And I woke up the next day and people were like, how do you feel? And yes, I am so honored and I am so pumped. I was and I remain. And I'm flattered and I'm thrilled and I'm tickled, as my uncle always said, to have been gifted this honor of this title, especially the first one in David Marmel's legacy. But the thing that I'm not is different feeling. I've noticed like that shocks me. I don't feel like a different person. It hasn't changed who I am. And I think one of the reasons for that is probably because I envisioned myself so many times already having that crowning moment, already living into this job, already being Mrs. American, that by the time I made it, you know, I've already lived into it. Like my cells already became it. And that was kind of a past tense thing. So if that makes any sense, I hope that that makes sense for you guys too, you know, and as you read back and see what I'm recommending to do, visualize that over and over and over. You're literally changing your cells because of these things we have called mirror neurons, and they exist in our brain and they exist in our heart because we actually have neural cells in our heart, like 40,000 of them. It's unbelievable. They don't know the difference between our physical reality, what is happening, and our imaginary reality, what we are replaying. And they're going to attract to us what we're thinking about, what we're focusing on. And if we're focusing on and thinking about the feeling and the excitement and all of the awesomeness about doing really well, then it's going to attract that to us, right? So that's the becoming thing. So my cells literally, and I know that I'm like a totally imperfect rookie hack science nerd. So if I'm saying things wrong, please forgive me. I watch all the nerdy shows and read all the nerdy books, and then I have to blonde it out, you know, because otherwise it's like, too much. But I take what I like and I leave the rest. And I know that we're literally changing the cells. We're changing the chromosomes in our DNA when we become in our imaginations over and over and over that person that we imagine ourselves to be. This is also cool because like I can do this with my kids. If I find myself screaming at my kids because I've just lost my top, I can go sit for a second and visualize me as the mom I want to be. Visualize me in that moment being calm, being compassionate, being vulnerable with them and letting them know, guys, here's why I'm frustrated. I'm about to lose it. And could you please help me? And then I can show up differently. I take that person and I bring it into the reality and I show up differently. And it's amazing when I get vulnerable with my kids, they become vulnerable with me and they actually want to help me. Crazy parenting thing. I was thinking about that because I looked at my nightstand and saw all the parenting books and it's like, whoa, you got some work to do, girlfriend. And it reminded me that that's one of the biggest challenges that I have. But that being said, I'm going to take this off because as we've done every day, I want to remember that it's not about that. You know, it's about just like woman to woman, real to real, person to person connection. And again, the crown and sash don't make me or break me. And the crown and sash don't make you or break you. Whether it's a local title, whether it's your state title and you're headed to America Week, girls, if there's anything I can leave you with during this week, it is the knowledge that you are perfect and you are complete and you are incredible and you make impact. You make ripples in your family and your community and your state, which ripples out into the rest of the country and the rest of the world just by being you. You don't need to change anything, okay? You don't need to change anything. You may see areas of yourself that you would like to improve. I see a ton of them, and I see them every day in every category, because that's how my mind looks at the world. I see the flaws in me just by nature. Ask my hair and makeup artist. She's worked with me for 15 years now. And she knows, right? She's like, Hannah, you're beautiful. And I'm like, really? All I see is like this zit. And like this eye has like drooped recently with age, and I don't know what to do with it. And I got to like put eyeshadow on differently for like a droopy eye. I don't know what to do. And all these things. And she's like, girl, look at the positive of you, not the negative. So if that's how you're naturally wired, I totally understand. And it takes people outside of me to come to me and remind me that there are successes, that there are wins, and to focus on the things that are magnificent about myself. And then, just like I share with you, we will get more of that. I will attract more of that and be more of that. I never tell myself, oh, I'm fat, I've put on weight, I have to lose weight. Oh, no. Negative affirmations don't work, by the way. The universe doesn't know the difference between when you say I'm fat or I'm not fat. I want to be thin. I don't, it doesn't hear don't, it doesn't hear no in an affirmation. So make sure that we're framing everything we're saying, regardless of the area of growth we want in our lives, as what we are wanting to grow into. Say it as if it's present tense. So if I have, indulged over the holidays, and I got a little extra something here and something here and something here, like we all do. And I'm not picking on myself. I'm just saying, like, it is what it is, right? And I'm looking forward to having that fall off, right? Nobody ever wants to lose anything. So stop saying I'm going to lose weight, because your internal framework is like, oh, heck no, we don't lose stuff, we add stuff. So instead of losing weight, we're releasing, to make room for a thin, healthy, light, wonderful physique that feels incredible to be inside of, and that allows us to step up into our greater potential for service to our family and to others. Doesn't that feel different? Right? So I say, oh, thank you. As I go out for a walk, as I'm trying to quote unquote lose the weight, I'm saying to myself, thank you for the slim body that is light and moves easily and is loose and sheds what is unnecessary and what is no longer serving me, and what invites only the healthy food and the healthy behaviors and the healthy choices that will light me up and will make my body look its best and feel its best and perform its best. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I'm affirming that I already look and feel like that version of myself that I'm aiming for. Do you get the difference there? I hope. Throw up a heart or something, y'all. If you get the difference and feel like, literally, I can feel the difference in the energy when I talk about it like that versus, oh, I got some hearts. Yay, thank you. Versus when I hear people who are like, I have to lose the weight. I gotta lose weight. And it's like, oh, that is so heavy. Like, your body doesn't want that. Bring it to the fun stuff. Okay. That being said, today is I rambled a bit yesterday. Today is even more of that. Because what I realized, and here's my real confession, I started with the superficial confession, because it makes me feel better to just get it out. Like when we say stuff, it takes the power away from it. When we reveal our secrets, this is stuff that I've learned in Alcoholics Anonymous when I first got into recovery. When we shine light on those things that we are the most ashamed about, or that make us feel bad about ourselves, or not enough, or in fear that people will find out or whatever, when we verbalize those things to another human being and we write them down, a human being, by the way, who you can trust completely, will not judge you and will maintain your confidence. Very important. Don't just say that stuff to anyone. But when we put that out there into our safe tribe, who knows how to keep that safe space and love us and encourage us no matter what, even with that ugliness, right? it takes the power away from it, which is amazing. So it might seem crazy that I'm starting with like, hey, here's my imperfections, or hey, here's the stuff that I'm noticing about myself, when I'm here to teach you about showing up with confidence and your most magnificent self. But for me, that's part of the process. I get that out, and then it's not going to be playing in my mind over and over and over. Are they looking at my zit? Because I've already claimed it, right? I've already owned it. So there it is. But the real admission today is that I got so excited to talk to you yesterday. It was such a cool group of women that were on, and I could just feel the energy, and we were jamming. I went completely ahead of myself and did all the material for today. Right? So I looked at today, and today I read the thing in Facebook. And if you guys went back and looked at day 4, I read the thing in day 4, and it's supposed to be stage presence, style, and energy you present, practice, and then the fears and the doubts as they relate to stage presence, and the energy that we're putting out into, your pageant competition. We did all that yesterday. And you know what? I've done that in every single other day, because the energy management and our output, the input that we give ourselves, and I gave techniques of how I actually do that, like Tony Robbins priming and doing prayer and specific meditations, becoming a channel. There's now I'm forgetting his name, the saint, I want to say Augustus, but that's not it. Saint Francis, there it is. The Saint Francis prayer of, God, let me be a channel of thy peace, and where there is strife, let me bring, it's the opposite of where there is struggle, let me bring peace, where there is loss, let me bring, it's the opposite of all of those things. And so I've shown you already techniques that I've used to get myself there, but that's like interwoven in every single other thing. So I showed up today, like, I'm out of stuff, guys. My bucket is full or empty. My bucket is empty. Hopefully your bucket is full. My bucket is empty of the actual tactical stuff. So I think what I can do is, would you be cool for a recap to go through? And I'm just going to bullet point for the, half an hour that we have left. Would that be cool? For those of you who did miss, yeah? Okay, right on. Thank you. For those of you who missed the first couple of days, the first day I boom, poured my heart out, and I was, wow, it was intense. I'm not in that same place right now. I'm not sure that I can give you all of that, but I can give you a micro version of it. And the same thing for the second day and the same thing for the third day. Okay. So this is not a replacement for those days. Oh, and in my, craziness this morning, I ran upstairs. I told you I ran upstairs to grab something, which is why I'm out of breath. I went up to show you, boom, what is hanging on my mirror. So what I'm telling you guys, it is not just textbook. I am nerdy and I practice these things myself. So you may know that I have this crazy opportunity to go on and compete for Mrs. World, right? First time ever, Mrs. American. Mrs. American gets to go on and compete also at Mrs. World. Yes, my Sash sister, Brooklyn Rivera, who is Mrs. America, was crowned the day after me, is also going to compete at Mrs. World. So that's a little interesting, right? That's when I get to do the work of loving in competition. And how do you show up in competition? Doing your best and trusting the rest. When you love a person that you're competing apparently against, I really have to do the work to say, I'm going to show up the best that I can. And I trust that this outcome is in your hands, God. You know who the right person for the job is. And you know for each of us what will be best for each of us. I did that with my roommate, Rochelle. We did that all week long with each other at America Week. And if you watched, and I'll put up some videos at some point, if you watched Mrs. American, she was my first runner-up. And it was so amazing because all week long we had been supporting each other and helping each other, because if it was their time, then cool, we're there to support. And she says it almost felt like she won because we've been, so connected through the process. And if that happens with me in Brooklyn, I literally, whichever, it's going to be a good choice because she's amazing. And whoever it is, I have to trust that that's going to be the right thing. That being said, I work my butt off to show up physically, tactically, and emotionally and spiritually as the best version that I can be. and I'm not just going to give it up. So my visualization, this hangs on my mirror so that I see it every time I'm in bed. I see it when I wake up. I work out in front of it. I see it when I go to sleep. And I do that visual of what it will feel like to be on that stage again, what it will feel like to be sending love into every corner of that auditorium. Mrs. World will be held in the same auditorium at the Westgate in Las Vegas. And so I can really easily visualize that. And I'm filling the space and I'm doing the same things that I told you guys about that I did at Mrs. American and that you can do. Man, that place is going to explode with love if all of you are doing that. And so, yes, that is the work for me. And by the time I get on the Mrs. World stage and hopefully to the top 3 and hopefully the final moment, I'll be like, cool, I've already been here. This is rad. So anyway, I wanted to make sure that I showed you that. And I made it out of paper. It's really fancy. And then I stapled it onto this 40 and fabulous sash that some friends made for me for my birthday party in June. So I thought that was very ironic and kind of fun to share. So anyway, the outcome that okay, so let's start with the greatest challenge. The greatest challenge that we all face showing up for a national competition is not, am I wearing the right dress? It is not, am I wearing the right interview suit? It is not, am I saying exactly the right things in interview? It is not, is my platform the one that will win it for me? Myth breakers, okay? I know many of you have had coaches even that have told you advice, given you advice that is opposite of that. That is not to say that there aren't strategic colors for seasons and, for different reasons, that there are better colors for you, that there are some styles that are en vogue and there are some styles that are outdated. Like, follow those things too. Follow the advice of people who are on your team for good reason and you trust. And then within that advice, make sure that you find, and here's what is most important, make sure that you settle in to wardrobe choices that feel like they bring the best of you. And yesterday was supposed to be about, with your fitness and your looks and your wardrobe, allowing yourself to bring your personality to it. So when people say like, oh, I'm a sporty girl, okay, then let that show up in your wardrobe. Within the confines of what would be acceptable for interview, be a sporty girl. Like for me, in my interview, I'm business and I'm also party. I'm like a mullet. And my wardrobe has to show that in order for me to show up as all of me. And I want to give all of me. So I want you to see all of me within 5 minutes. How do I do that? I have to choose a wardrobe that shows that. So I chose this like cool pencil skirt that's very business. And then it has these big ruffle sleeves. And that's symbolic of me being business and party. And my evening gown was the same thing. Not only was it different because I chose to not follow the advice, of people. I actually have a team that didn't tell me that, thank goodness. But to follow the trends of what have won in the past necessarily, or whatever. I know that white is not the best for me. There's no judgment. If you're going to wear white, if you're going to wear white, girls, rock it and let it be you in that. White just isn't for me. But the rest of that dress, the structure of the dress was designed because it feels like structure and business, if we're using that same thing, business on the top and then party on the bottom with huge ruffles that were fun to kick and to walk in and to do my thing and to feel like me. And I could show both. It was like a mullet dress. So whatever the aspects of you are, make sure that you find a way to have them represented in your wardrobe, if that makes sense. And no one else can really do that for you. That has to be an individual thing. But I think, the how to show up as your best self has to mean conquering the self-doubt, what I call the self-doubt monsters, those illusions that persist inside of pretty much all of us. I have met exceptions, but not many, that can hold us back either from competing, either from even showing up, but you are the courageous ones that have overcome them enough to show up. But now I'm challenging you from the place that you are now to, I'm admitting someone. Okay. From here, that I'm challenging you that the self-doubt monsters that we'll review again real quick to give you some ideas if you don't already know what they are about you, which I don't know about me. I just, they're holding you back from your next level of awesomeness. These are what are holding you back, girls. These are the things that you don't want to talk about out loud. These are the things you definitely don't want to admit to someone, and you don't even want to like hear your own head admitting that you have them. But you know what? When we shine a light on a monster in the corner, it makes it go away, right? Same thing I was talking about by telling someone about my biggest fears, it makes the power disappear. And so what we need, this is how to win a pageant without being perfect. No one is going to be perfect in any of the in all of the categories, right? Pretty much in any of them. Even the 10s make mistakes in different areas, you know, and that's just life. Like even in athletic competitions, even the best of the best, Simone Biles still makes little micro mistakes in every performance she does. Only she knows them or sees them, but she still has to overcome the mental game of not letting that set her back. So some illusions and self-doubts or objections or whatever you want to call them. I'm too heavy, right? You picture yourself in a swimsuit, or I'm too thin. Believe me, flip side of the coin, you've got people on either side that are having those arguments with themselves. I'm too old. I'm too young. I don't have enough etiquette. I'm too casual. I don't have enough money. I don't have enough money. That one's huge. I can't interview. I can't articulate well enough. I can't talk on stage. Whoa, cannot talk on stage, scares me to death. And I'm going to freeze. That's what people are afraid of. I can't walk right on stage. I'm not going to be able to present myself or to remember the choreography. I'm afraid I'm going to trip. Worse, I'm going to fall. Right? We all have that concern, right? That we're going to trip and fall on stage. I mean, I had it a long time ago. And it exists. I don't look the part. Whatever the part looks like for you, for maybe past winners or whatever, I don't feel polished enough. I'm not regal enough, graceful enough. I'm afraid to use my real platform. That's a big one, right? I stepped out and talked about my own overcoming of alcoholism and addictive illness. Whew. Did I have people tell me not to say that? Oh, yes, I did. But did I learn to say it in a way that still inspired and uplifted and allowed people to trust me and who I am today? Not 12 years ago, but who I am today and who I've become, that I will show up for you and I will show up as a person of integrity and someone that you can trust wholeheartedly and someone who's no longer selfish, someone who wants to give and give big and expects that when I give big, the world will give back to me in return and all of those things. Yes. And it can be both. So if you have a platform that is one that people have said, be careful of XYZ, just make sure that you're showing the successes in it and the wins in it and the growth in it and how you're giving back to others. And you are making a ripple and change in your world because of that, whatever that is, that destruction in your life, that cancer, that abuse, that loss of a loved one, that disease, that whatever that thing was. Make sure that we touch that very quickly and then we move on to who you have become and what you give to the world now, not despite that thing, but because of that thing. Because women, that is our power, right? Like that, and talking about that, bringing that up in vulnerability, whether it's in an interview room or on stage, bringing that vulnerability is what allows the judges to connect with you and to connect with who we really are. They see us as Barbie dolls up there, right? You look amazing when you hit the interview room and you hit the stage and they're like, who is she behind that like perfection? Who is that woman really? Like, I want to get to know her. I want to see if there's substance in there. I want to see if she has all of those beautiful qualities, the fruits of the spirit that we're looking for. So give them a taste of that, right? And we can do that through vulnerability and how we overcome challenges. Also, tripping and falling on stage, y'all. I love to talk about this because I've been a pageant geek forever. Like since I was 16 and I started my first pageant on a dare because I was told that I could never do that I could never be that. And so I took that up as a challenge. And then my pageant decades began. So I watched and I watched and I watched. And what was so interesting, and if you guys haven't watched, there's now like highlight videos on YouTube that didn't exist when I was younger. We had to watch things live. But you can watch the trips and the falls and the stumbles. And what I've noticed, just anecdotally, I haven't done any research on it or seen any, is that the women who trip or even fall actually increase their probability of winning the pageant. Crazy. I've watched it over and over and over again. Why is that? It's not because it brings attention to her necessarily, but what people are watching is how we overcome that challenge. because it gives them insight into who you are. And the judges are hungry for that insight. They are speed dating 50 women that are all remarkable. They need something from you so that they can really get to know you and go, yes, I'm on her side. I'm her advocate. If they watch you overcome a challenge on stage with grace and with dignity and maybe a little humor, that's just my gig. Like, I can't trip on stage without being like, that happened. In fact, I tripped in my evening gown a little bit. I practiced 200 times probably in my living room and never happened. And then on stage first time, boom, happened. And I was like, all right, that was interesting. They're watching you overcome. They now have an insight into how you overcome things in life. And everybody wants to like help an underdog, right? Everybody wants to help someone who's going through something and they're doing it with the best that they can. So anyway, don't worry about imperfect choreography. Don't worry about tripping. Don't worry if you go to the wrong mark on the stage. Frit and Frat gets so mad at me because those are the choreographers at nationals. They get so mad at me because I sometimes I panic in the last minute and I'll go to the wrong X. I'll be like, which way do I go when I get out there again? And I can't remember. But you know what? If you go to the wrong X, you just own it. You just work it like you were meant to be there. And then you go to the other side and you own it and you own your space and you do the rest of your thing. And you just act as if it didn't even happen. And the judges will be so mesmerized by you and the energy that you are exuding. They don't care about if you took the right path or the left path and how you exited the stage. That is not what wins or loses the pageant. Watch a billion of them like I have, and you'll see the women who do those things and mess up choreography still win often. And they do it because they are owning their own energy. They're projecting love. They're projecting all sorts of cool things that attract people to them. And it's not because of the choreography. So don't worry about that. I don't look the part. Look back at all of our winners. There are people who will look like you. And the other side of that is don't be a trend follower, be someone who creates a style within this pageant world that other women then want to emulate behind you. And I've given examples of that in the previous days, so I don't want to keep doing all the same info over and over again. But that's my goal in this, is that within the, relatively small confines of the pageant look and the expectations of that, I want to push to the edge of that and push my own personality and be as creative and out of the box thinking as I can be within that box, if that makes any sense. And that's what I'm doing for Mrs. World. So if you guys are around, come to Mrs. World. I'll do a shameless plug. Come to Mrs. World January 15th back in Vegas at the Westgate, or watch it on live stream. And I will reveal to you what I will be wearing on stage, which is that exact thing. It's a big choice and it's going to be awesome. So there's that. I also want to, and so in that, don't be afraid to use your real platform. I talked about that. I'm too tomboy. I'm too athletic. I'm too military. Ladies, none of those things are true. We've had Miss USAs, Miss Universes. We've had Mrs. Worlds win that were more muscular than the others, that were more sporty than the others, that were more military than the others. When we use that as your greatest asset, instead of something that you're afraid of, that won't fit in, you wear it proudly, like this is who I am and this is the tribe of people that I'm representing, and I'm doing it with pride because I love them and I honor them and I'm showing up to represent them. You're unstoppable, right? And that's what I've done for my platform of advocacy, recovery advocacy. There's millions of people who are also people in long-term recovery behind me. And I have the honor of stepping up and knowing that that's my tribe. And it weighs heavily on my heart to make sure that I'm representing them in the best way, authentically, but also with purpose, to bring hope and to bring light and to bring joy and to speak well, hopefully, about the issues that we want to present to the world, to break the stigmas about, who people think that we are, so that people who need recovery are more willing to step into recovery because it looks a little bit more like them. So whoever your tribe is that you feel like you're representing from your platform, allow that to fuel you when you walk out there. Feel that energy of those people who are supporting you, and you are giving them a voice, which is spectacular. What a gift, what an honor. It's amazing. Okay, so I told you guys stories. I showed you videos of my own all of these different objections and self-doubts, and how I actually lived into many of them. When I first started, I couldn't talk on stage or walk on stage. I didn't look the part in any way, shape, or form. I wasn't regal or graceful or polished enough. I wasn't etiquette. I didn't have good enough etiquette. Talk about being articulate. I obviously wasn't articulate. I was too skinny. I was too young I looked too old for the competition that I was in, and I was too young to get into the older competition. Every single one of these objections, these self-doubt monsters, they were actually true for me in a lot of ways. And if that's the case, then, we talked about find examples of people who have succeeded even with that. Okay. That's part one of the formula. And part two of the formula is to then set out concrete long-term, midterm, short-term goals with action steps that you will work on every single day, even though you only have 4 weeks potentially to your pageant. Action steps that you will do to improve yourself to the maximum of your ability. Don't imagine that you're going to get to a 10. There's no such thing as perfection. To hear myself say that is so ironic, but it is true. But to the best of who you can be in that category. And then, only then, when you combine those two things, will you be able to internalize your own self-confidence that comes from such a core in you that no amount of incredible women surrounding you that you could be in comparison with and shoot yourself down, none of them will intimidate you, because you know that you've done the work and that people have succeeded just like you before you. So it's both of those things. And then the layer that we add on to that is that you are in control of managing your energy. I am in control of this field of energy that pushes out 8 to 10 feet outside of myself without even trying. I am in control of that. You are in control of yours. And if you are insecure and shrinking with the amazingness that's happening around you, or if you are gossiping or getting surrounded in the gossip or into drama or falling into, roommates this or roommates that, or I got to get there first, or I got to get the best spot, or I got to just trying to get like an advantage in some way, somehow, all of those things. And I don't think that's who's on right now. I don't think you would be on if you were that person, but those people are shrinking their energy. They're darkening that field around them. And you can never win. You can never attract what it is that you're looking for if it's beautiful and aspirational and helpful to others to be of service. You can never attract that to an energy that is a darker energy. It's a lower vibration energy. You just can't. They're incompatible. We have to raise our energy to what we want it to be and when I say energy, I'm not talking like take an energy drink, right? I'm talking about like the cellular, the metaphysical, the actual energies that we're emitting from our bodies, because our cells all do that. We all emit. We have to raise that within ourselves in order for what we're aspiring to be attracted to that. It's the same thing as what we think about, we bring about. What we think about, we bring about. There is a magnetism. It's one of the laws of physics. It's one that they're just discovering, actually. It's one of the laws of the universe, just like gravity. It is as strong as gravity, that what we think about, we bring about. And if we're in that week going through what naturally may hit your mind, oh God, her suitcases are better. My luggage isn't as good. I'm too poor for this. Like, this woman obviously has so much money and I can't compete. That woman has had a lot of plastic surgery done. And I got some wrinkles going on, and that obviously can't work. And that woman is way taller than me. And that woman is like a news anchor, and she just like shows up on her selfies like she's running CNN, and I can't compete with that. And that woman is an NFL cheerleader. Okay. So she rocks that stage and does those dance moves bigger than I could ever imagine doing. And who am I missing? What categories am I missing of the women who could be intimidating? The doctors, right? The crazy intellectuals, the pageant patties. I'll pick on them, the ones that look like they were born to do this. And if you think that I look like that, I don't feel like I look like that. I don't feel like I act like that. I don't feel any part of me that feels like that. But if you think I look like that, just know that anything that I look like that fits into the pageant mold, I had to work on years and years and years and years of personal improvement in each of those little areas that we talked about. I found people that looked like me, and I did work to improve to look the best of me. But so if we are surrounding ourselves with these people that could be intimidating, which that's going to happen the second you show up at the Westgate. Here's what I saw when I showed up at the Westgate, by the way, side note. I got out of my my car, which is a normal car. Like it's an SUV. It's nice. It's fine. It's like mom rig, you know? And I had the back of it filled with all my gowns. And then I turned around and it filled one rack. The guy came and helped me and it filled one rack. And then I turned around and out of this pimped out Range Rover that was like blinged to the nines was this, I didn't actually see the woman, but were 3 racks of clothes that were over the top, like piled, overflowing with wardrobe. And I was like, oh, okay, that's what I'm up against. And the first thing in my mind was, I'm not enough. She's more than me. She's better than me. She's richer than me. She's more beautiful than me because she's going to have a better wardrobe than me. That's what the first things happen in my mind, y'all. I'm opening my heart to you. I'm like frighteningly giving you the scariest thoughts that happen in my head. I don't say this stuff usually out loud, but I want to give you the whole of me, because only in the healing and only in the taping over of these thoughts will you be able to change that and to expand that and to succeed the same way that I have. And when I say succeed, I'm not even talking about the crown and the sash, although that's pretty cool. But I know that that was a gift to me because I have done all of this work, and because I attracted it, right? And because there's also just luck in the universe, I think, you know, whatever. I don't take all the credit for it, for sure. But so I had to consciously go through step by step by step in my mind, women that I know have won that have been poor. I thought of the girl from Vermont, which was my home state when I was a teenager, who won Miss Teen USA, and she was from a foster home. She had the super curly hair and she had no money and a Lent dress, and she won Miss Teen USA. I had to think of her. I had to do what I'm telling you guys to do and do that formula. And then I had to think, so I had to think through women who have won it without being the richest. Right. And then I had to consciously do my stuff to like, be like, okay, no, I love my wardrobe, man. Yeah. Like some of it's repeat wears from before, and I've had it altered and I've made sure that it looks the best on me that it can look. And I think it's reflective of who I am. And I think it's timely. And even though I've worn most of them before, I'm still excited to wear them. And I'm delighted for the opportunity to do that. And I'm going to show up and I'm going to rock this thing because I am going to serve all week long. And that's going to be bigger than whatever sparkles I got on my dress. Boom. So that's what I had to tell myself in that moment as I first showed up at the Westgate and was like totally put off by this woman with millions of dollars, it looked like, of fancy clothes. And we all know the outcome of that. I don't know who that woman is, but I know that I won in that moment. And here's where I'll give you the guarantee. I can't believe I've rambled for 50 minutes. I feel like I haven't even started for you guys. I'm sorry. I'm feeling like not my best delivery for you today, but I really do hope that you're still getting value from this. Where was I going with that? I told you at the beginning, and I even put in like the graphic. Oh, thank you. I put in the graphic for this pageant prep challenge that I would guarantee you a win. And that is how you do it. That is my guarantee to you. You define your success metric. Go back to day, what did we do? Day 2, day 1, who was on? Define your success metric, which means in like regular language, I guess, even if you don't win, your ultimate goal. What achievement, accomplishment, could you set up for yourself that if you achieve that, you will leave feeling no regrets and feeling successful? That is the number one takeaway that I can give you to define for yourself. And that will allow you to, God's solid truth, you guys. I'm not giving you fluffery. I hope you know me well enough by now. Even if this is your first time meeting, seeing me talk, I don't do fluffery. I don't do BS. You ask me if your butt looks fat in those jeans, and I'm going to say, girl, let's look for another pair, right? I don't do that stuff. And I will tell you the best thing that you can do, the most important thing for your soul to protect your spirit and your heart and everything wonderful about you that I see in you. You wouldn't be here if you weren't an incredible, powerful, loving, phenomenally giving, inspiring woman. You would not be here where you are if that were not the truth, okay? In order to leave America Week feeling like the success that you are, give yourself the gift of defining your success metric, because that is the thing you are in control of. All the rest of it, you know, your shoe breaks when you're on stage. Whoop, can't control that. My heel actually broke on stage. The plastic strap is like ding as I'm walking. You get a zit on your nose. Your hair and makeup artist gets the flu and you have to work with someone else. The beads start falling off of your dress and you have to borrow a dress from someone. Things happen. Like, plan for them. Plan not tactically for them, but just know that they're going to happen. Emotionally plan for them. Things are going to go sideways. And that's just part of the fun of it. That's part of the journey of it. When I went to Mrs. America at 2013, as Mrs. Vermont, I sprained my ankle. I sprained my foot and my ankle like 2 days before finals. And I had to sit out in rehearsals and out of rehearsals and ice it. And I had women in the back massaging and putting essential oils. And I was icing to numb the pain so bad during finals because it hurt so bad. But you know what? There's gifts in that. I got to bond with David Marmel, our late founder, who passed away about this time last year. And that is a gift that I never could have imagined. And that's the silver lining of what came from something that could have thrown off, you know, my spirit, my heart, my energy, but I didn't allow it to. So whatever happens during America Week, look for the silver lining in it. I think you're all pretty optimistic people. You know how to do that, but you're in a pressure cooker during America Week. So don't forget to do that. Okay. I know you already do that. Okay. So where was I? So the success metrics for me going into America Week were: 1, to serve. I was there to serve whomever needed it, however it looked, and whenever it was necessary. And that comes from me, from my history. You know, before I got sober 12 years ago, I was a self-centered, narcissistic, self-serving person who it was all about, what can I get? What can I get? What can I get? And I hate saying that. Ugh. I don't even like talking about that version of me because it was so not nice. It was not nice to be in, and I didn't know how to get out of it. And it was not nice for anyone else to be around. But I'm not that person anymore. Okay. I'm not that person at all. And I wanted to be able to express that and to practice that by giving and serving with everything I had. So I made this like pact with God before I left. And I was like, all right, so if I'm supposed to be there to like fix someone's shoe right before they go out on stage and she's the one who wins, and I'm the one on my hands and knees, like fixing her shoe, I will have won, because my personal success metric was to give all I had to whomever, to however, to whenever it was needed. Does that make sense? So that was one success metric. And I shared a lot of examples in the other videos of how, you know, that kind of played out. And you'll have opportunities. If that's your thing, you'll have opportunities to do that too. The other success metric I had was to be super authentic the entire time. I wanted to be the most open-hearted, heart-driven, real version of Hannah that I could possibly give. I didn't want to put myself into a mold and try to look like a former title holder. I didn't want to be like what I thought a coach was going to try to mold me to be. That was my goal, was to, whether I won or came in dead last, which I have had happen multiple times over the years in multiple systems at multiple ages. Regardless of that, I am to show up as my most heart open, authentic self. Boom. So those are 2 wins already, you guys. Before that's the beautiful and silly and amazing and incredible and relatively meaningless to the reality of our entire lives. And I say that with the greatest respect possible. This will not make or break you. It will not change you. It has not changed me. It hasn't made me or broken me, because you are so much more than just this. And I've learned that. So that's how you win, regardless of the outcome. The other success metric I had, like, I guess there were 3. I thought I had 2, but I guess it was 3, was to exercise the gift that I've been told I have to find the gold in other people, to find the golden nuggets, which don't shimmer like gold, actually, really. Like the raw gold is really rough cut and it looks kind of dirty and it gets buried, right? You have to sort through a bunch of stuff to get to it. But what I love, what makes me so fired up in life is when I can look for that in another woman that I'm just meeting. And I can find that buried within all of the stuff that she's putting on, all the masks, all the I'm perfect stuff, all of the like me, like me, like me, like me. And I can find that nugget. That nugget is her vulnerability. It looks like a pain point for her that she thinks is a failure, that she thinks is a weakness. And I can look at her with the life experience that I've had and be like, girl, I love you, not despite that, but because of that. So let's connect on that. That can look like disease, abuse, alcoholism. What are the other things? Anything, like anything that has happened to us or that we have done in our lives, it condenses into those gold nuggets. And that is what makes each woman so magical, because we've strengthened from that. We've built layers of strength and resiliency and compassion for others and empathy because of that. That's what radiates us out when we use it like what it's meant to be. And I love to find that in women and to show them like, look, sister, that is not a thing that's holding you back. And that is actually the thing that has allowed you to become the most magnificent that you are today. And here's specifically to that issue, what I see you looking like and why you're a champion is because of that thing. And it makes women weep and it connects us. And it's like my happy place. I love it. It's like unlocking a treasure for me. And I set out at America Week to do that as often as I could and see how many treasures I could find. So I wasn't there to compare in the dresses and to compare and compare and compare. I was there on a treasure hunt. And that is a success metric that I achieved. And it was so perfect. And I have a couple of really cool, close friends from last year because of that. And I want that same gift for you. I have 1 minute left. And so I will just leave you with this. Define your success metric. It doesn't need to look like mine, but write it down. And you will know, as you have both worked on your tactical areas of improvement, found women that have won anyway, and you hit your personal success metric so that you know that no matter what the outcome of this particular pageant, and by the way, if you want to win, never give up on yourself. It took me 24 years. Okay. If it's a one and done for you, magnificent. If you have this in your heart that it's something you are meant to do, keep showing up until it happens for you. Okay. Don't give up on that dream and don't let anyone stop you and say, oh, you're too old or you're still doing that. I thought you already did that Mrs. America thing. Like I heard a lot. It was still something in my heart that was nagging. If you have that call in your heart, don't give up on yourself. And I'm here to encourage you that it's there for a reason. It's there for you to be able to use your message from your pain, from your gold inside of you, from your pain point to serve others, to allow others to embrace those parts of themselves and to accept those parts of themselves and to see them as the gold, the shiny gold that they really are. So those are my messages for you. And I am so thankful that you spent an hour of my rambly, heartfelt talk today as I, went through all the material that I was supposed to go through. Oh, thank you. Oh, hearts and thumbs up. I just love you guys. Thank you. That means the world to me. It really does. This is why I'm here. This is what I'm doing it all for the opportunity to have a connection with you ladies, because you are so magnificent and your hearts are so big and you give so much to this world. And I just want to be able to show that to you. And I'm so thankful for the opportunity to be able to create a platform like this where I can, and where we can connect and support each other and show the world, even if they don't see us doing this, we stupid quantum physics geek, right? We are changing the energy around us, and there's ripple effect that's going out right now because of the love that we are sharing, and it is moving and it is changing and it is shifting the entire world. And I am so honored to just be a part of it. From the girl who never believed that I was enough, never believed that I was worthy enough and that I was any of these things enough, to all of a sudden be here and be sharing these deepest, darkest, and lightest, happiest, most meaningful parts of myself and what I've learned in this pageant journey with you guys. I'm just in awe. So thank you. And messages. Thank you. Thank you so much. And so tomorrow, yay, it's Friday, tomorrow. Tomorrow is the day that we have special guests coming. And they have been asking me, like, what should I be preparing? Because these women are superstars, and they're the kind of superstars that like to plan ahead. Obviously, we're a lot alike in some ways, like maybe being blonde, but that's about it. Because, you know, this girl, no. They would love to know from you in advance, my sisters, what questions that you might have for them. And it might be, you know, it could cover any topic. It could be tactical stuff about America Week. We're bringing, should I tell you? I think I already told you. I have Brooklyn coming, right? Mrs. America from last year, this year's almost crowning the new Mrs. America. She will be on live tomorrow, and she is phenomenal. And I have Mrs. World coming from a train in New York. She's literally going to be in transit, but she loves you guys so much. She wants to show up for you. And I have a former Mrs. World who is also a state director. She has tons of experience, and she is showing up for you tomorrow in a big way. So, it's not going to be super scripted. I really want them to be able to answer the concerns, the questions that you guys have. Maybe the stuff that your directors aren't going to tell you. Maybe the emotional things, like how do you get through XYZ? How can you prepare yourself? You know, the stuff you guys are thinking, we've all been there and we've all thought it. And maybe we just didn't have people who were, you know, able to connect with us and like give us that dirt before we show up. So if that sounds cool to you, that is what is happening tomorrow. I also am going to give you, I promise, some little giveaways, and the giveaways look like also resources for you. I want to, you know, I'm going to work on giving you a list of some of the resources. You've asked me about fitness things, what I use for supplements, who I use for training. Is that something that you guys can share? What is the methodology to that? The tacticals. So I will share those things with you. I will also share probably some books. I mentioned Anthony Trucks and his Identity Shift, which is a game changer. You can read that on the airplane. It's a super easy read. And I'll give you like the link to that. I'm going to give you the link to, what else did I find? Yeah, I have a list in my Scribble. You guys see my Scribble notebook? I have like 50 pages of notes for this pageant challenge. You see the crazy sloppiness. And this is what I'm going through to try to make some method to the madness. Here's your objections. There's your objections in my sloppy handwriting. I never even got to the why, the how, and the what about why we're competing and to get to the gut of it. Maybe we'll do that again in the future. And yeah, so there's more that I'm giving away, but I can't find which page of my scribbly notes that is right now. So it's going to be a surprise and it's all going to be free, which is super fun and super cool. The only thing that I would ask of you guys, if you felt anything positive came out of this, if there was any encouragement or transformation, that's a loaded word. I can't imagine that is happening, but if it is for you, I am thrilled. Or even just a nudge or even just a hug that you felt from me in this, do like a little testimonial video or something, because I have been asked to do it again and in the evening. So I would love to know from those of you who are on now, if evening hours work for you, and, you know, shoot in the comments in the Facebook group, like what you loved and or what you want more of so that I can actually address those things in the next one. Do a little testimonial video so that the other women know that it helps them in some way. So that's my only ask, if that feels right to you. If it doesn't, that's fine too. I am here to serve you no matter if you want me to or not. And I love that you jumped on. I love that you contributed your time, which I know in pageant prep land is like insanely valuable. And I don't take that lightly. So I hope that I served you, and I look forward to hanging out with you again tomorrow. Sound good? Okay. Thank you. Bye.